Hi, it's me, Daniel, and today is day 9 of the BCC Open. And yes, the last day. I just finished round 9, which is the last round of the BCC Open. Um, and this is the recap of the game. It was actually a short game by classical time control standards. The game took less than 2 hours, about an hour, 40, 50 minutes. So yeah, it was a short game and it ended in a draw. Though there were one or two moments where it was interesting. Okay, let's have a look. And in this game, it was the last game, and since I'd already fulfilled my target of 1/3, which is 3 points out of 9, I had 3.5 points at the end of round 8, and I thought I'll just have some fun. So as you can see here on the board, I played e3, which isn't very common. And my opponent played g6, which threw me off. I was expecting e5, d5, c5. So I had prepared a little bit for those lines, and my opponent played g6. Okay, so here decided to play knight f3. No, I didn't play the cow. Yeah, I know some of you were like, is Daniel going to play the cow? No. Not in a classical game. Maybe if I get much better, I might play the cow if I'm going for fun, but not now when my level at classical chess is still very low. Okay, and the game continued. Okay, not too bad so far. Castles. Position is quite equal, though black has a slight advantage according to the computer. So we both had very similar ideas on our pawn structure. Okay, and you can see here now, black is preparing e5. Okay, because black has got the knight and the queen supporting the e5 square. Okay, there's not much I can do about it. Okay, and I decided, okay, I'm going to push e4 at some point. So I move rook e1, and black played e5. I took with my pawn, black takes with the knight, and here I made my blunder. Yes, even though it looks symmetrical, but as we were opening the position up, I actually made a blunder. Okay, I moved e4. So I was calculating pawn takes, knight takes on f3, maybe even bishop g4. So there were a lot of possibilities. And my opponent played a move that I didn't see, even though you probably saw it. What do you think black play? Some of you got it. Yes, black played knight d3, attacking the rook. And in this case, if the rook goes back to f1, the e4 pawn is toast. So white has got to keep the rook on the e file. So I move rook e3. And here, this is the last round of the BCC Open, so I presume my opponent was tired as well, and he totally missed this brilliant move. Knight takes f2. Yes, if knight takes f2, if king takes, then knight g4 checks and takes the rook. I mean, yeah. So white wouldn't be able to take the knight. Okay, so maybe say queen f1. Okay, and black would be a pawn ahead and having some very interesting attacks. For example, queen to b6 and going for the skewer, and also maybe bishop here to h6, attacking the rook here. So if black had seen this, knight takes f2, white would be in a really bad position. So I was really glad that My opponent didn't see it. I didn't see it as well during the game. It was only after the game, and I was like, oh, right. So my opponent played knight takes c1, took rook c1. White's position is still not very good because actually black has got the idea of bishop h6 and attacking 3 pieces in a row. And white has got to be very careful not to lose in the exchange. Okay, and by avoiding that, well, white basically would be in a really bad position. Okay, but black took the pawn, so we traded. So now it's a bit better for white, but black has got the double bishop, the bishop pair, right? And they can come out very strongly, as you'll see in the next few moves. Okay, bishop f4, and then the rook comes out. So the idea is black wants to move their rooks out into the middle with the queen supporting on c7, and then the bishops let them run amok, and white is cursed. So I had to run here, and then my opponent played bishop e6. And here, I had a move which is really out of the world, right? To equalize, not to win, not to win. White is actually quite far behind now because of the really poor position and against the bishop pair. But here, white has got a chance to equalize the position. Can you see it? Yes, some of you saw it. Rook takes e6. Boom. Right? And here my opponent had a very long think. Okay. And the idea is white is unable to defend the e6 pawn. And because white has got the queen and the knight attacking the e6 pawn. And after the knight takes the e6 pawn, white has got a triple fork on the rooks and the queen. Yay! Okay, and here black played bishop h6, trying to pin the knight and the rook. But what I did was I took the pawn anyway because I'm attacking the queen. And when the queen moves, I can move my rook to safety. So here black plays queen to f7, and very sneaky. So if, for example, if white were to play rook b1, queen gets to take f7 check. So white moved rook f1 to defend the f2 pawn. Black moves the rook, take. Okay, trying to weaken the black's pawn position. So now the 3 queenside pawns are on white squares, and white's bishop is on a white square, so it's pinning these pawns so they cannot move. Okay, so black is trying to attack the pawns on the on black 7th rank or white 2nd rank, and so far white has got adequate defense. And then black moved rook c2. Okay, this is both for the players and the computer. We saw it as, yeah, it's a drawish position. And I thought I might try to maneuver my bishop here to e2 before I move my king to d1. And black played rook c1, which I completely missed, which shows how tired I was. Right. So rook takes, bishop takes, and we both agreed to a draw because after black takes the pawn, white's king can come here, and when black's bishop goes up, white's king can either choose to defend the pawns here on the queen side or move them up and then centralize the king. And with opposite colored bishops with 5 pawns apiece, generally it's a draw unless somebody blunders really badly. So here we agreed to a draw, and that's it. So after 9 games, I've got 4 points, okay, out of a possible 9, which is kind of like what I kind of expected, because it turns out that this BCC Open is really, really, really tough. You've got a lot of experienced club players and retirees, right, who are very fairly strong in their own right. And then you've got what is called the insane kids. These are the kids who are under 12. A lot of them, they play in the Challenger, which is for those rating below 2000. And a lot of these kids have got really good memory, very sharp tactical minds. So even though they are like 6, 7, or 8 years old, they've been known to beat opponents much older, wiser, and with a lot more experience of chess behind them. So 4 points out of 9, I decided it's actually pretty good from a first-time classical tournament. And it was also a really good experience. I talked to some parents and to a coach about coaching students. And I also met people from around the world, mainly from Europe. So I had 9 opponents, right? 9 opponents, all 9 of them were from different countries. That's how international the BCC Open has become. So if you're watching this, right, and if you're interested, please do practice hard and come for the next BCC Open. The time, the venue, it will be announced maybe in about 8 months' time, but start practicing from now. Right, that's it for today's game recap, and this is the last video for the BCC Open, the 23rd BCC Open 2026. Right, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in one of my other videos. I plan to do a few more over the next few weeks. Bye!